You went on a Mexican vacation with your family and woke up alone in an ice bath. Welcome to the Sidebar. I'm Sebastian Morales, filling in for Clint Myers Novak, who's currently waving a cellular sign on Santa Monica Boulevard. Guns and Ammo is one of the preeminent and most respected magazines in the firearm field, featuring reviews, news, and articles about firearms, ammunition, optics, and shooting gear. But not fireworks. That would be dangerous. Our guest today is Jeremy Tarr, self-proclaimed right-wing patriot and contributor with his monthly article, One in the Chamber. Jeremy, welcome to the
Hey
Sidebar.
man, thanks for having me. Very good to be here. I'm proud to be here.
Well, we're proud to have you. Now, your article, One in the Chamber, Training America's Next Generation of Shooters, is one of the more popular articles on guns and ammo.
Yeah,
Tell
and
us a
we're
little
really
bit
happy
about
about
your
that.
article.
It's very nice to be loved the way that we're loved. But really, it's not about the article. It's just about training people in gun safety, the future of guns, and raising the next generation to be, responsible shooters.
Now, when you say the future of guns,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just guns. Like guns are guns, dude. Like, what more can I say? It's just kind of.
Well, for instance, what kind of gun are you using now?
Well, right now I got my personal favorite, the Savage Model 112 rifle. It's one of the best in the hunting class and range shooting. But there are a few I got. I got a Knox short stock. Got a Rascal 44. It's just the list goes on. So I think future of guns is people keep having guns, people keep shooting guns, and I really want guns because right now I think in the mainstream media they're kind of vilified, and with all the bad stuff that's going on around guns, with school shootings, it's people need to be taught, and so I think I want to get to the point where you can go to a cookout in your backyard and one of your friends brings out a gun, maybe a Black Hawk, and just kind of puts it down on top of a bag, and you just start shooting down range at targets that we just set up in the back. And I want that, man. I want people to be able to have fun with guns.
So you're advocating for being able to discharge your guns in parks.
Yeah, in parks, or hell, if you got enough room out of the back of your house, if you got more than 150 yards, you can set up a range right there.
If a gun isn't loaded, you write that it's perfectly fine for your child to have the gun as long as there are no bullets. Now, so if you
as long as you have no bullets, no blanks.
So you're fine with children running around with empty guns.
Oh, yeah.
Bullets is where you draw the line.
Bullets is where I draw the line. If children have empty guns, and look, when you have a loaded gun, it might discharge, but when you have a gun that doesn't have any ammo in it, like, what's it going to do? It's going to click, click, click. And kids love the clicks. They love pretending that they're shooting each other and being in the war and in the army.
And you don't have any qualms about a child bringing an empty gun to school. Now,
no,
I would say Republicans and Democrats alike would draw the line on children, one, having access to their parents' weapons, and two, bringing their guns to school. But you say, well, that's recess.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter brought my Pulsar carbine into school, the bolt action, and she showed it around to all of her friends. And, I feel like if these kids don't get exposed to the guns early enough, and she's in kindergarten, so she's been exposed, and the gun is bigger than she is. Like, she had to have two of her friends carried over their shoulders, and then they did army marches.
So you're teaching teamwork.
I'm teaching
teamwork.
Exactly.
Now, does she go to a special type of school? Is it now, not all public schools, I would say 0 public schools would allow this behavior, but possibly if she's attending a specialized school.
Well, this is a school dedicated, because I'm a Marine, so we live a lot on base. I'm not in the field anymore. I'm not deployed.
So this is an elementary school on a Marine base?
This is on a Marine base, and this is for Marine kids.
And this is sort of a pilot program, right? This doesn't exist in other areas
it's
around the country.
It's not like pilots, like they're not going to be flying planes.
Not Air Force, meaning pilot, meaning this is one-off school, and if the school is
Oh.
successful, and if the children complete, say, 5th or 6th grade, they have a 4 or 5 year run without anybody actually getting shot.
Yeah.
It might take off, no pilot pun intended, around the country.
Yeah. No one can get shot. No one's gotten shot yet, which is pretty good.
Now you say that, but that's not entirely true. Now,
all right,
because there are no bullets, children are. I mean, you let your daughter go to school with a
gun.
bayonet.
Yeah.
Now you say a gun, but this is an 18th century bayonet.
I mean, it's barely even sharp. It could probably, you could probably stab through a tomato, but you couldn't stab through a person's, bone structure. Have you ever tried to stab through a chest?
No, I haven't. But I'll tell you a quick story. When I was a little boy in Chile, the general of my village would make the children pull grenade pins out with their teeth. In the winter, got to go to the dentist, which is really just the rifle butt of his rifle.
Okay.
So I can relate.
Yeah, we actually we teach kids not only how to fall on grenades, but how to take a rifle butt properly to the face, because there is a way.
Well, there's a way, and our researcher, the Internati Harper, actually joined you on location to test that way. And she took how many butts to the face?
She took 7 butts to the face.
7 butts to the face, and you said the record was 6. So Addie set the school record.
She is She's a tough girl, dude. And she is something else.
We'll note this on the record that Addie is not in attendance at the elementary school. She's actually working for us for college credit.
No, she's too old.
She was too old, but she was a good sport anyway. And she has the pin that you gave her to prove it, and she says thank you. She can't currently speak, but her smiles are enough, and her cries are more than sufficient.
I mean, she's pretty much permanently smiling right now because her lips are pretty much stapled back.
You have this militia that is you're sort of backed with, the Americans for American Activities.
Americans for American Activities.
And anything that's
that's kind of my home away from home. We could get into the gun debate, but I'd rather just talk about.
Well, we're going to get into the gun debate. I believe this entire conversation is a gun debate.
I mean, if you just want to look, okay, let's get into it. I believe that, guns are our God-given right to this country.
Let me stop you here.
We need to be able to use them to defend ourselves.
Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you tell me how the role of guns in the Americans for American Activities, what your organization does, what you're promoting.
Look, okay, the American for American Activities, dude, they're my boys, all right? And we have a couple ladies on there. So
you spelled boys with the Z?
Boys with a Z, of course. B-O-I-Z. Wow, that's how you do it. When you're this close, when you're brothers, I mean, some of them I toured with, Some of them I toured with.
You toured with in the Marines?
In the Marines,
okay.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a band. I was actually in
a new metal band.
A new metal band. We had a lot of hair, like heavy hair band. But no, that's, dude, not the same. The metal band, they're probably dead in a ditch somewhere in Wisconsin.
And let me just say, you were in a hair band, and that's probably some of the inspiration for the water gun.
A little bit.
For the hair cutters.
If I had some of these, the Widow Shaver earlier, that would have been great. But
the Motley Crue cut.
The Motley Crue, yeah, exactly. I mean, we got the Motley Crue gun. It's the long waterfall. But the American for American Activities.
The rat tail.
The rat tail.
The rat dash tail.
Yeah. 2
T's on the rat.
I mean, again, more T's.
The Husker Dugenstein.
I'm not even sure what that is, dude.
The Guns N' Roses.
Okay, so yeah, the American for American Activities, like I said, they're my boys. And dude, you can spell that any way you want, all right? That's my right, all right? So we go around, and we're basically a self-appointed militia full of veterans in all actually armed forces, in the Marines, the Coast Guard, the Army, and the Air Force. And we go around, and we're just, guys who want to, and 2 women who want to make sure that our area is safe. So we patrol around, and we each have...
You patrol your town. Which town? Where are you? What state? Where? Is Kansas?
Yeah, we're in Kansas.
You don't want to disclose. Is that Is that what you're signaling?
No, man. I'm completely
because
okay with disclosing.
Frankville,
Kansas. What do you want from me?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
everybody, Frankville, Kansas.
Frankville,
the Americans
Kansas.
For American activities.
And
they do all things that are activities that Americans do.
Yeah, we dress in all red. We go around. We dress in red, white, and blue. We eat a bunch of hot dogs and hamburgers. We go around with our guns. We fire them into the air every once in a while.
You smoke Marlboros.
We smoke a lot of Marlboros.
You've got golden retrievers and you drive pickups.
Yeah, we drive.
You are the personification
we wear jeans
of country
at
music.
all time. I live country music, dude. Like that. That's just who I am. You know, guns, God, country.
Okay, let's do this. Let's skip right to the country musicians that are in the Americans for American activities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they're not there all the time because, you know, they travel around. But
tell me about Slim Bradshaw.
Slim Bradshaw, he is one of the most honest, God-fearing men I've ever met. But aside from that, he's a really sick dude, okay? So he's big into guns, and I love that about him. He actually, his favorite gun is the AR-15. Mm-hmm. And he just goes around and he just likes to shoot it into bushes randomly just to see what comes out.
He's a bush shooter.
He's just right in there. And, you know, that's just who he is. And then you got Keith Urban came down one day.
Now tell me about Keith Urban's roadie, Rootin' Tootin' Schmutz.
Schmutzy.
Schmutzy is a dangerous man.
Yeah, Schmutzy. No. Schmutzy got into some trouble. Okay,
Our researcher at the Internet, Addie Harper, just handed me a picture of Schmutzy literally holding his own business card, which just says dangerous man.
Okay, look, Addie, I thought we had a good time, so I don't know what you're doing ratting on Schmutzy, but like Schmutz, rootin' tootin' Schmutz.
Addie knows where her loyalties lie.
Look, this guy, you know what parallax is? It's where you aim down the wrong side of your face and your dominant eye doesn't line up with the scope, so you don't exactly see where you're aiming. So Schmutzy didn't know about this, and he just kind of got mixed up, and we were shooting on some targets, you know.
And he shot Keith Urban's best teddy bear.
And not just his teddy bear, okay? He shot his tea set. He shot his Princess Peach. He shot 5 of his My Little Ponies.
Well, everybody knows if Keith Urban doesn't have his toys, he gets cranky pants and can't go on stage.
He does. He gets cranky pants.
Boy, was he cranky pants when 3 weeks ago, when the Americans for American activities were hired to do security at his concert. And it didn't go well.
That was a great time up until that dude threw a punch.
Told us nothing. We learned nothing from it. And you were hired. And Keith Urban was cranky, and tell us about his antics.
Oh, okay. Look,
and how you combated that with firearms and sheer mayhem.
Keith Urban, he's the type of person who, when he gets a little cranky, he likes to throw a fit. So he started yelling out for his binky, and his binky is, of course, a rag just soaked in pure alcohol that he just sucks on. Dude, and he is hardcore. And then he throws around some of his food, and he had spaghetti and meatballs that day. So we had to put a bib on him.
And his wife is Nicole Kidman, right? And she has to do propeller to get the food into his mouth.
She has to do the plane and trains and automobiles, the whole deal, you know, dude. And that's just kind of how Keith Urban lives his life. And so the only way that we found out that we could get him back on stage, because we've done a couple shows, but this was the one that really kind of tanked a little bit, is we gave him a gun. And we would give him a gun, and we would play cops and robbers, but with guns. You know how sometimes when you get cranky, Mr. Cranky Pants, you just kind of want to shoot things and laugh a little bit.
So Keith is allowed to shoot one bullet into the audience.
One bullet, and usually it hits someone no one cares about, and that's the cool thing. And it actually hits somebody who's glad.
It was true because nobody cares about anybody who goes to a Keith Urban concert. So luckily, he's able to get away with it.
I mean, I don't know if nobody cares. Like, people at a Keith Urban concert. People at a Keith Urban concert.
Here at the Sidebar, we've done polls, and I would say 1 million out of 1,000,001 people do not care about Keith Urban.
All right, so 1 in a million.
Our researcher, Addie Harper, has statistics and pie charts and graphs to prove it. Now, that being aside, you let Keith fire into the crowd.
Yeah.
And who did he hit?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton, but it wasn't the Hillary Clinton.
No.
It was somebody who changed their name to Hillary Clinton, who nobody cares about.
No.
Obviously, you found the one Democrat.
Yeah, we found the one Democrat. It was actually a guy who legally changed his name to Hillary Clinton, but before was just named Aaron Samuels.
Boy, he really thought she was going to win.
Yeah, he did.
And lesson learned, listeners, if you're going to get a tattoo, if you're going to change your name, make sure the sports team actually wins the Super Bowl. Make sure the candidate actually wins the election and Russia doesn't interfere.
I mean...
Now, Keith Urban, I'm told, was completely heartbroken when Toys R Us went out of business.
Oh, he was just distraught.
Tell me about the Americans for American Activities shopping spree for Keith Urban.
Actually, this was a whole Kansas-wide. We actually got Kansas and Oklahoma. All of Oklahoma City
and
joined in.
You hit all of them,
and
right?
Kansas
you hit every
City,
store.
Missouri. Yeah, we hit every store, dude. We hit every Toys R Us.
And he sits
in those 3 states.
He sits in the cart.
He sits in the
his feet dangling.
Yeah, he sits in the back facing, so that whoever's pushing it has to like talk to him the whole time.
Well, that way, because he needs to be tickled.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So one hand is pushing.
On his feet, like someone has to sit on the undercarriage and always tickle his feet, and then someone has to be pushing, and every once in a while you push his belly button.
Right.
It's got to be once every 3.5 minutes.
And he makes like the Pillsbury Doughboy sound.
Yeah, it's one of the most adorable things I've ever heard.
And he wears little Smurf slippers.
Mm-hmm, and little Smurf hat.
Little hat and what were you gonna demonstrate?
Oh the little Pillsbury
Doughboy. Yeah, let's hear it. Come on.
I mean, I mean, it's Keith Urban, so he's kind of twanging. He's like, ha.
Yeah. See, that's it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
You spent enough time with somebody.
You know what they do, dude.
You know them inside and out. Now he has to be. I don't know if KB Toys is still a thing. I guess you buy your toys just on Amazon.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll all just be buying everything on just Amazon.
And I gotta tell you, that 3 to 5 day shipping is a pain in my ass, because a lot of times Keith, he wants them one day and then the next day he changes his mind, and it's just, any celebrity you work with, but especially country stars, they flip on a dime, man.
Right.
And it's like the Amazon has to figure out their logistics, because when I was in the Marines, like, we could move things cross country faster than they can ship a toy. But cross state,
And did you ever think you'd be getting Keith Urban 4 tons of lollipops?
I mean, at some point the thought had crossed my mind, but I didn't think it would be 4 tons. I thought it would be just like, wouldn't it be funny if it was 1.5 tons? It wasn't funny. It was work. It was work, dude.
It's true. Well, Keith Urban, he's known for sleeping in a crib when you're on tour, and so the Americans for American Activities. That's one, right? You supply all the ammo. Guns and Ammo sponsors the Keith Urban tour. And so you get all the guns and you get all the ammo for free. And for every Hillary Clinton that's cut down, there's another innocent bystander that nobody cares about out in the audience. They get cut down. Now, you donate guns to their families.
We do.
Right, so and you pay for the funeral, so it's not
it's
not a total loss.
We realize that
it's actually a gain, because one, you're losing a Keith Urban fan, which is always good for America.
Again, I disagree with that, dude. That's like,
well, you disagree, but again, we have the statistics to prove that it is always good for America when a Keith Urban fan is taken off this planet. Now, you donate guns, you donate bullets. What else do you donate to the families of the fallen from Keith Urban concerts?
The whole thoughts and prayers thing that's been going on in Congress for years, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. So we donate guns, we donate bullets, we donate the actual bullet wound where they got shot and what killed them.
Oh, that's right. So you cut out the bullet wound, and you
cut out the whole cylinder that goes through their whole body of where the bullet traveled, and then we mount it up in their house.
Interesting. And you frame it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that hole is just gone from their beloved one's body, so they can commemorate, the sheer awe and power of a gun and what it can do. It really, it ups the respect.
And you put a shortcut button on the bottom of the frame, so anytime you need to order a new gun, you just push the button.
Yeah,
and it automatically ships to your house.
And it actually plays back the moment that your loved one got shot.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something to remember them by,
And it's free shipping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. And we do it next day delivery, too. So no Amazon shipping times, 35 days again. Like, what is up with that? Who's the CEO? Jeff Bezos, right?
Exactly, yes.
That dude has got to, you got to up his game, man.
Well, tell me, okay, so you say that because you actually have had some interaction with Jeff Bezos. Now, he hired you to consult on his home defense for his compound.
Oh, yeah.
Now, tell
dude.
me,
Oh, dude,
tell me
this
some
is great.
of his home defense, some of the home defense methods that you pitched and ultimately what you decided on and implemented.
All right, so it's important anytime you are establishing home defense, you will always have to set up a perimeter. I say always set up a perimeter. And you got to figure out your choke points. You got to figure out your last stands. You got to figure out where you're going to put your weapons. You got to figure out your caches. So I went around the whole entire property. And Jeff Bezos has a pretty tight, actual, naturally defended territory. He's up on a hilltop, which is great. And it's a wooded area kind of to the north, which does, afford some cover for shooters. But for the most part, you can pretty much see.
Now, what do you do with the serfs that are below? Now, he's in the Bezos fiefdom. Right, he's on top of the hill. Now, tell me about the villagers below, and at what point because he has a wheel in his compound that can either gives water or cuts off the water supply. Same with the plumbing. Jeff Bezos essentially has total control over everybody.
It's Bezos town.
Bezos town, right? And I don't want to say indentured servitude, but these people signed contracts.
You sign contracts, but you don't get out of it. So it can't be indentured if you don't get out of it.
Right. Now he feeds everybody every other Thursday, and you have this defense system that you're implementing. And were these people working with you? Were they against you? Because you armed them as well.
I armed all of them, and actually looked at every person. I figured out their shooting style, their stance, their how they would react in a situation. I actually sent all of them out into the woods around Bezos Town, which is populated by thieves and cutthroats and highwaymen
and his choo-choo train
and his endless choo-choo train, which actually contributes to more death than car accidents nationwide.
And it's essentially Thomas the Tank Engine with Jeff Bezos' face on the front.
And I think it's pretty terrifying, but he's into it.
It runs on blood.
It gets a lot of that, yeah.
Blood is obviously not blood. It's a mixture of gasoline and gunpowder and a proprietary blend. I don't know.
Yeah, but there is some blood.
But he calls it blood, and that, in my mind, that's scary enough.
It's pretty scary. And so we released each villager, each serf, into the surrounding area one at a time, naked. And whoever came back, I figured out they were chill,
And what kind of weaponry did you arm them with?
So everybody got a long range and LR rifle, long rifle, and some people got the Rage Takedown. But most people, I gave the Archer carbine, which is kind of a sleeker model, and it's got those thermal optics I was talking about. And it has one of the newer attachments, which are sleep darts and smoke canisters. And, dude, it's sometimes you get those mixed up. So you might smoke canister one of your friends in the face if he's going kind of crazy. They're used mostly for like SWATs and riot police. And around the town, I actually set up a bunch of monster hydraulic 45 ATXs. And those things are anti-aircraft.
Now, who are you defending Bezos Town against?
Bezos Town
Who is invading Bezos Town?
Mostly employees from Google and Apple.
So the tech wars are alive and well.
Yeah, they have been going on for a while now.
And Bill Gates also has his own island.
Yeah.
Right?
Gates Island.
And same deal. You were actually outsourced by... You weren't outsourced... a competitor.
Look, the Americans for American Activities is a private contractor, and we're kind of hired by whoever, and all we do is advise you on some safety regulations.
Now, what about the Americans for Un-American Activities?
Pretty sure that was from the Red Scare, and that's not what we do.
So there's no communist affiliation?
No. Nah, dude. No, we're not commies. Look, the communists came and went.
The communists are communists.
The communists are communists. We're not communists. We're American. We're patriotic as fuck, dude. Like there's no way we're gonna be caught as a commie. Like the communists collapsed. The Soviets are gone. The everyone's gone, and the only communists left are like the hipsters, and the communists should just get out of our country. Just go back to where they came from and speak the language of communism.
Tell me about the witch doctor on Bezos Island.
Oh my god,
in Bezos Town.
The witch doctor in Bezos Town.
The witch doctor turned out to be a mole.
He did for Gates Island.
Right. Now tell me how you cut them down, how you hunted them down.
Now, the witch doctor, he's tricky because he's actually in the voodoo arts, so there's a lot of shadow play, and voodoo only works if you believe in it, dude. And so I personally do not. I don't believe in it, but half of my squad, half the Americans for American Activities do. So we had to really deal with that.
What are the do's and don'ts when you're combating voodoo?
Well, do not. The don't is believe in their magic, because in voodoo, one of the main tenets is that if you put salt at any entrance, anyone who means you harm can't enter through it. So if you put salt at a doorway or window, you can't get through it. So like this guy, this witch doctor just put salt in a circle around his house, and immediately half my squad couldn't get into the house.
And that's why salt on a wound hurts.
Salt on a wound hurts because it's kicking out everything that is in there that means you harm, which is everything. It's germs. So, you've opened up your body. And so do proceed with caution, and do remember that fire is actual fire. Like voodoo fire is still fire. It still burns, dude. And I forgot about that because it was burning green. And it only burns green because there's certain gases like nitrogen in it, but it still burns, man. So...
No, a tip you wrote in your article was don't chew the witch doctor's bubble yum.
No.
Because you don't want to chew the bubble yum. Now, why don't you want to chew the bubble yum?
Now, the bubble yum it's very stringy, but it's very sticky. And once you take that first bite, you realize you can't open your mouth again. So your mouth just kind of becomes one big mash of bubble yum. But it's so good, dude. It is so... It smells so good, and you walk in, you're like, I gotta have some of your yum yum.
You don't want to narthel the sand porpoise?
No, the sand porpoise is purposely put in front of the fireplace, and he just chills there. He looks at you, and if you narfle him a little bit, then he will jump on you and he will just smaggle your joints, and guns don't go. Guns jam around the sand porpoise.
And the mirth merkin.
The Mirth Merkin is a little trickier because that guy, he lives out of the shadows. The Mirth Merkin and the Sanderwop, those are both the creatures that you need to really not deal with.
No.
The Mirth Merkin's wings, man.
And you're a firm believer in...
I got some memories, man.
In the zombie apocalypse, and you're a...
Yeah. Oh, do you not have a zombie plan?
No, I don't have a zombie plan, but I have a clown plan. I think the clowns are going to turn on us. And I think the zombie clown is an underrated villain because nobody can control him. So imagine Pennywise as a zombie.
Oh, no.
He didn't have a plan. You don't have a plan if you're a zombie, right? You're taking anything that comes your way.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a clown, you have a plan, though. Like, clowns have plans. The scary thing about zombies, dude, is zombies don't have plans.
But what about clown zombies?
Clown zombies, those are probably the most terrifying things I could ever think about.
That's what I'm saying. Now, what
is a clown zombie on fire? That would be the worst.
Now, say it wasn't on fire, but what is your plan if the clown zombie apocalypse were to happen?
Now, the first thing, obviously, is to take away the mirth from the clowns because the clowns are going to be trying.
Well, you don't want to hide in a tent.
No, you can't hide in a tent. You can't hide in a ball. You can't hide around animals, and you can't hide in anything that's red, yellow, or baby blue.
And no cars filled with more than 10 people.
Yeah, there can't be, and that even goes for like a big car that might fit 10 people.
Like a Volkswagen.
A Volkswagen, you can't. No, you can't fit 10 people because once you fit that 10th person, one of the people turns into a clown zombie.
It's true, and then they big mistake.
Once you hear that music, you know it's gone.
Red shoes are out.
Red shoes, well, big red shoes are out. If they're constricting to the blood flow of your feet, dude, those are fine.
Also, bike horns.
Yep, anything with bike horns, any flowers that you might wear on your lapel, those are gone.
Those are gone now. If you're the Americans for American Activities, I don't think there's anything more American than forming a local militia and hunting down clown zombies, and you're using bike horns to essentially draw them in.
Yeah,
good humor music, right?
Yeah.
Clown zombies come.
Yeah. We actually go around with an ice cream truck. That's the plan. We go around
so you draw them in.
We draw them in.
And you draw them in. Now, this is a sort of a side project for Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
And so you would draw them into the island and drown them in the moat?
Yeah, we would draw them into the town. And because Bezos Town has the moat around it.
Now, Bezos Town also has a 3-ring circus.
It also has which is kind of, it confuses me a little bit, dude. But you know, he's so fucking rich. It doesn't even matter at this point. Like, I mean, if he wants to give me some money, he can give me some money to focus on these clown zombies, which are a legitimate threat to everything American. Like, I'm terrified of them, and so I think the best way to fight one of them, you get your ice cream truck with 9 people in it. 9 people. You get your bike horns, and you get your big red wigs with curly hair, and you kind of flap those outside the windows. And then once you get to a specific place, you start playing heavy metal music.
And the elephants.
And the elephants are helpful, you know, if you want to really cut down quickly. We train a couple elephants to be kind of scouts, and they go out and they would find clowns, and then they bring them back, and then at that exact moment that we start playing heavy metal music, something happens to an elephant. Dude, an elephant starts to mosh, and an elephant moshes harder than you have ever seen anything, dude.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen an elephant mosh.
You have not seen a mosh pit until an elephant mosh pit. And those, oh my God, they like go in circles and they go around and they create craters in the earth, and then they just kind of headbang. And when an elephant headbangs, it bangs its trunk and its tusks into the ground and flips up dirt. So that dirt just flies everywhere, and once it catches any of the clowns, just like clown bodies start bumbling up to the beat of the heavy metal. So it's just, and you just all these bodies going up, and then the bodies hit the floor.
Suicide rates are up, so that's good business for you.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, dude.
You're losing a customer, but you gained a customer before you lost the customer.
Yeah. Like if anyone listening is thinking off of themselves and the hotline isn't working, call us up. We could use some zombie decoys, you know?
And you do something really nice. If somebody does kill themselves, the family member or the next of kin can return the unused bullets for a partial refund.
Yeah, dude.
And I think it's horrifying, but it's a nice gesture.
I mean,
and I think your heart is in the right place.
We got to get
back.
And
now,
somehow.
Obviously, you're a member of the NRA.
Oh, yeah.
And you've graced the cover with your militia.
Twice.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add about law enforcement, how you see the future of arming law enforcement? The NYPD is something like the 10th largest army in the world.
Yeah.
Numbers-wise.
I mean, I think it should be larger. Do you know how big New York is? New York is huge. And do you know how much they get away with? All the people in New York, like you're in a tight space in a city, and the inner city is just, it's crazy. It's lawless. Like crimes being committed left and right. So I think the NRA has been petitioning and should continue to give the NYPD block. It's basically it's a block taser where you point it at a building, you press it, and then just the entire block just sends out a electric wave, and just everybody gets tased.
Oh, so you suppress the entire building at once.
Yeah.
And then you sort out the mess later.
Oh, yeah.
You figure just somebody's going to get it.
Somebody in that building was doing something. You know, that's just how it goes, dude. Like when you have that many people, you just you shoot a block taser in a direction and someone was committing a crime. Just how it's going to happen. And we also have the cruncher, which is actually a lot more dangerous than it sounds. And it's kind of like it looks like a bullwhip, and every time you crack it, 5 people just get hemorrhoids.
You can't shoot those off. That gun is still in development.
Yeah, that one's really, dude, I think it's too much. Like, there are some human rights Genevas against it, because you can kill people if you want. You can nuke people if you're not supposed to nuke people, but like, dude, you could. But hemorrhoids, that's something you live with, you know.
You can't shoot a nuke.
No.
Jeremy Tarr, the magazine is Guns and Ammo. One in the Chamber is the article. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, just shout out to the 1/5 Geronimo. Make peace or die, motherfuckers. Hoorah.
To decipher that was his Marine Squadron. Coming up next week on the Sidebar, plantains. Are they just sour bananas? Or are the Dominicans wrong? I'm Sebastian Morales, saying see you on the flip side.